The North Pacific is a realm of endless blue, a liquid void where the horizon swallows hope and spits out solitude. 200 miles from Hawaii, where no ship dares linger and no satellite casts its gaze, lies a secret known only to those bound by oaths and fear. They call it the Pool, a name as bland as a bureaucratic memo, yet it conceals a truth that claws at the edges of sanity. For 15 years, I, James Hughes, walked its sterile corridors, swiped my badge at its relentless checkpoints, and stared into the heart of an enigma that predates humanity itself. This is not a story of human error or mechanical failure. It is a descent into a mystery that spans realities, a confrontation with an object that whispers across time, and a battle against versions of myself I never knew existed. My name is James Hughes, a researcher trained to map the uncharted, to reduce the impossible to data points. For decades, we studied an artifact that defies physics, a smooth, light-devouring relic the size of a bus, floating in a chamber deep within the pool. We called it an object as if naming it could tame it. We measured its hum, charted its atoms, and convinced ourselves we were its masters. But mastery is a lie when you face something that exists in countless timelines, something that knows you better than you know yourself. This is the account of the Pool, where I heard voices from beyond the veil, saw my own face worn by strangers, and learned that some doors, once opened, demand a price no one can pay. Have you ever felt a presence in the silence? A shadow that moves when you blink? If you stood before a doorway to another reality, would you step through or fight to keep it closed? The helicopter's blades sliced through the salt-heavy air, a mechanical heartbeat against the Pacific's roar. As it descended onto the Pool's landing pad, a steel island adrift in an ocean of secrets, I gripped my duffel bag, the weight of 15 years pressing against my chest. The platform was a marvel of engineering, its surface polished to a mirror sheen, reflecting the gray clouds above. I stepped onto it, the wind tugging at my navy jumpsuit, and approached the first checkpoint. A guard, Carl, sat behind a reinforced glass booth, his monitor casting a pale glow on his face. "Morning, Hughes," he muttered, barely glancing up. "Morning, Carl," I replied, swiping my badge. The scanner beeped, and the gate slid open with a hydraulic hiss. This was my ritual, performed 5 days a week for a decade and a half. 7 checkpoints stood between the landing pad and the research wing, each a gauntlet of scrutiny designed to ensure nothing, human or otherwise, entered unverified. The second checkpoint was a decontamination chamber, its walls gleaming with surgical precision. I raised my arms as scanners swept my body, their red beams probing for contaminants. A mist of sanitizing spray enveloped me, cold and acrid, followed by a green light and the door's release. The third required a retinal scan, the fourth a voice print reciting my ID code, the fifth a hand geometry analysis, the sixth a weight distribution check, and the seventh a full-body millimeter wave scan that left me feeling stripped to my soul. 43 minutes after touching down, I reached the research wing, my boots echoing in the sterile silence. The wing was a cathedral of science, its semicircle of 20 workstations arranged around a central display like pews before an altar. Above, a domed ceiling glowed with artificial daylight, its intensity unchanging despite the storms that raged outside. Below, through reinforced glass flooring, lay the object. It floated in its chamber, a smooth, slightly oblong shape the size of a bus, its surface absorbing light in a way that made my eyes ache. Not black, not transparent, but something else, wrong, as if it rejected the very concept of visibility. For 15 years, I'd mapped its atomic structure, each day a battle against its refusal to yield answers. Its presence was a constant weight, a reminder that we were not studying an artifact but wrestling with a mystery. The object emitted a low buzz, a vibration just at the edge of hearing. Some researchers never noticed it. Others, like the new hires who requested transfers within weeks, found it unbearable, a sound that burrowed into their dreams. I'd grown accustomed to it, like the hum of a refrigerator in a quiet house. It was the Pool's pulse, a reminder of the life I'd chosen. My workstation was a minimalist shrine, monitor, keyboard, tablet, and a single coffee mug, its handle chipped from years of use. I logged in, pulling up yesterday's data maps. The object's atomic patterns stared back, as enigmatic as ever. "Anything interesting in the overnight data?" Daniel Cooper asked, sliding into the station beside mine. His easy grin belied the tension that defined our work. I shook my head. "Same patterns as yesterday," he chuckled. "That's job security." At 8 a.m., Director William Peterson began the morning briefing, his silver hair catching the artificial light as he flipped through his tablet. "No significant changes in the object's metrics," he announced to the 30 researchers. "Thermal output constant at 19.2 degrees Celsius. Gravitational field stable at 0.021 newtons per kilogram. Radiation signatures unchanged." The words "standard, stable, constant" were our mantra, a shield against the object's defiance of natural law. The object was discovered 27 years ago, buried in Antarctic ice, its age estimated at 12,000 years, predating human civilization. Its discovery had sparked a frenzy among scientists, followed by a shroud of secrecy. The pool was built to contain it, a fortress in the ocean's heart. My role was to map its structure, a task requiring patience and precision. I spent hours recording atomic positions, measuring density, and tracking energy outputs, each datum a thread in a tapestry I'd never fully see. The work was meditative, a way to lose myself in routine. But today, as I stared at the data, a flicker of unease stirred, a premonition I couldn't name. At 1 p.m., I took my lunch break in the common area, a sterile space with long tables and a cafeteria serving the same menu every 2 weeks. Tuesday meant turkey sandwiches and tomato soup, the flavors as predictable as the artificial daylight. I ate quickly, the buzz of the object lingering in my ears, then headed to the communication room. The booths were soundproof, their secure connections a rare bridge to the outside world. I sat in booth 3, the screen flickering to life. Emily appeared, her red hair shorter, her smile strained. "Hey," I said, forcing warmth into my voice. "You cut your hair." "Just a trim," she replied, touching it self-consciously. "How's the platform?" The lie was automatic. Same as always. Lots of maintenance, lots of ocean. My cover story, an oil platform engineer, had been crafted 15 years ago, a fiction to explain the isolation, the long rotations, the non-disclosure agreements. It was a lie I told Emily, my partner of 12 years, since the day we met. Each word chipped away at our bond, but the pool demanded silence. "I saw dolphins yesterday," I offered, clinging to a truth from last week's sighting. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "That sounds nice." We spoke of small things, her job teaching second grade, a movie she'd seen, plans for my return in 2 weeks. But the conversation was a performance, each word careful, as if we feared breaking the fragile thread between us. "I miss you," I said as our time ended. "I miss you too," she replied, then paused, looking away. "James, when you get back, we should talk about us, about the future." My stomach tightened. I knew that tone, the weight of talk. 15 years of absences, of half-truths, had eroded what we built. "Yeah," I said, my voice hollow. "We should." The screen went dark, and I sat in the booth, the silence suffocating. The pool was a thief, stealing relationships, honesty, pieces of your soul. They'd warned me during recruitment. Maintaining personal ties would be difficult. They hadn't mentioned the emptiness, the way lying hollowed you out. I returned to my workstation, plugging in earbuds to drown out the buzz. At 4:42 p.m., I noticed it, a subtle shift in the sound, a fractional change in pitch, like a distant radio tuning to a new station. I removed my earbuds, tilting my head to listen. Most wouldn't notice, but after 15 years, I knew the object's voice like my own heartbeat. I checked the acoustic monitors, their readouts showing normal parameters. I adjusted the sensitivity, comparing them to the morning's baseline. There it was, a 0.3% deviation in harmonic pattern, a ripple in the object's eternal consistency. I logged the change, my fingers hesitating. Minor fluctuations weren't uncommon. They usually resolved within hours. But the hairs on my arms stood up, a primal warning. I stayed late, listening to the altered buzz, its rhythm unsettling, like a conversation I couldn't quite hear. As I walked to my quarters, the sound followed, faint but persistent, echoing in the clean hallways. Sleep came slowly, the buzz weaving into my dreams, a whisper of something awakening. The facility's artificial sunrise woke me, lights gradually brightening in my quarters. A sterile cube with a bed, desk, and terminal. I showered, the water's hum failing to drown out the object's buzz, then grabbed oatmeal and coffee in the cafeteria, avoiding colleagues' small talk. The pool's social rules were unspoken. Discuss weather, research, rotation schedules, nothing personal, nothing emotional. At 7:43 a.m., I began the trek to my workstation, badge ready for the checkpoints. The guard seemed more alert, his eyes lingering on me, or perhaps I was more aware, the buzz sharpening my senses. When I reached my desk, I froze. A yellow post-it note sat in the center, its bright color alien in the gray and white environment. I glanced around. Other researchers were logging in, oblivious. I picked up the note, my pulse quickening. In blue ink, in my own cramped handwriting, were 6 words: "You have to leave now." I hadn't written it. Post-its weren't approved supplies. The pool's protocols were rigid, every item tracked. I turned the note over, finding nothing else. Someone had breached my secure station, mimicking my handwriting perfectly, or I had written it and forgotten, a thought that chilled me. I accessed the security footage, my fingerprint unlocking the recordings. At 2:17 a.m., a figure appeared me. Not similar, identical. Same face, same jumpsuit, same badge clipped to my pocket. My double sat at my desk, pulled a post-it from his pocket, and wrote quickly. He placed the note, then looked directly at the camera, his expression grim, lips moving silently. Daniel Cooper entered the frame, speaking with my double for 2 minutes, his gestures agitated. My double handed him something. A data chip, perhaps, then vanished in a flash of light, leaving Daniel alone, staring at the empty space. I closed the feed, my mind racing. The pool's security was impenetrable. 7 checkpoints, each with biometric verification, made unauthorized entry impossible. Disappearing without a trace was equally absurd. I found Daniel in the cafeteria, stirring coffee at his usual table. "Did you come to my workstation last night?" I asked, keeping my voice low. He denied it, but his hand froze mid-stir, his eyes darting away. "I saw the footage," I pressed, showing him the note. "You spoke to someone who looked like me." He paled, standing abruptly. "I can't help you, James," he whispered, then fled, his coffee forgotten. The morning briefing was routine, Peterson dismissing the object's minor fluctuations as normal. But the buzz had changed, its pitch rising and falling in waves. No longer a background hum but a presence. I tried focusing on my mapping, but the note burned in my pocket, its words a warning I couldn't ignore. Why leave? The pool was 200 miles from land, accessible only by scheduled helicopters. Escape was impossible outside those rotations. And who had written it, my double or something pretending to be me? That night, sleep was a battle. The object's buzz was no longer external but inside my skull, a vibration that pulsed with my heartbeat. Then came the whispers, faint, layered voices just beyond comprehension, a chorus from nowhere. I tried drowning them out with music, running the shower, pressing pillows over my ears. They persisted, constant and unintelligible, a tide eroding my sanity. By morning, exhaustion clung to me like damp cloth, my eyes shadowed in the mirror. 3 days of whispers left me unraveling. My work suffered. Mapping errors crept into my data, patterns I'd once read effortlessly now blurring before my eyes. Colleagues avoided me, their conversations halting when I approached, their glances heavy with suspicion. During a lunch break, I saw her, Emily, standing at the end of a corridor in her blue sweater, her auburn hair vivid under the lights. She looked confused, worried, her eyes locking onto mine. "Emily?" I called, my voice cracking. She opened her mouth, but 2 security officers appeared, taking her arms gently but firmly, leading her away. I ran after them, but the corridor was empty when I turned the corner, as if they'd never been. I stormed to the security station, demanding to see the footage. Chief Sanders played it back. I stood alone, calling out to nothing. No Emily, no officers, just me, a fool shouting at empty air. "There's no one there, Hughes," Sanders said, his tone careful. "Could the footage be altered?" I asked, desperate. He shook his head. "By whom? And why?" He suggested I see Dr. Lansing, implying stress-induced hallucinations. Doubt crept in. Was my mind breaking? Or was the pool hiding something? The whispers grew louder, more urgent, as if trying to convey a warning I couldn't grasp. I met with Director Peterson, showing him the note and describing my double. He listened, his face impassive, then suggested a psychiatric evaluation, implying paranoia from prolonged isolation. Dr. Lansing's evaluation was clinical, her questions probing my sleep, stress, and mental history. I lied about the whispers, knowing the truth would brand me unstable. She prescribed sleeping pills, her smile practiced. "Stress-related paranoia is common here," she said. I pocketed the pills but refused to take them, needing clarity more than rest. Desperate for answers, I searched for Ryan Ward, a name Thomas Bell had mentioned during a cryptic conversation. The personnel database showed no record of him, as if he'd never existed. But physical archives in the administrative wing offered hope. The room smelled of dust and paper, its filing cabinets a labyrinth of secrets. I found a 2018 incident report detailing a 6-hour power outage, during which security systems failed, creating a window for someone to vanish. A maintenance log noted repairs in room E17, Ward's likely quarters, ceiling panel replacement and ventilation access. That evening, I slipped into E17. The door unlocked as was standard for empty rooms. The space was barren, a bare mattress on the bed frame, an empty desk, a closet with spare hangers. Above the bed, a ceiling panel looked newer, its edges less yellowed. Standing on a chair, I lifted it, revealing a dark crawl space. My fingers brushed something solid, a leather-bound journal, worn and dusty. I sat on the mattress, heart pounding, and opened it. Day 872 at the pool. The whispers started 3 days ago. Ward's words mirrored my own experiences. Whispers, a double on security footage, a note in his handwriting. "They are lying to you." He described the object as a doorway existing across realities, causing timeline breaches. Keller and Matthews, predecessors who vanished, had reported similar phenomena. Ward saw Matthews in another reality, bruised and fleeing, as if pursued. His final entry outlined an escape plan during a supply delivery, coinciding with the 2018 outage. Carved into the wall was a code, 22481. Using the code, I accessed a data chip Thomas had given me, its older connector compatible with my terminal's adjusted settings. The chip contained a classified paper by Thomas Bell, written 20 years ago. It theorized the object as a multiversal anchor, capable of converging timelines. An uncontrolled convergence, Bell warned, could cause catastrophic reality degradation, destroying connected realities. The whispers, my double, the facility's distortions, all were signs of the object awakening, its doorway cracking open. At 3:17 a.m., alarms shattered the silence, their high-pitched wail signaling a security breach in Research Sector C, the object's chamber. Protocol Alpha locked me in my quarters, the door unyielding. The whispers unified, chanting, "It's happening. The convergence has begun." Desperate, I dragged my chair to the ceiling, lifting a panel to access the crawl space. The space was tight, dust coating my jumpsuit as I crawled toward a maintenance hatch. Through its window, I saw an empty corridor bathed in red emergency lights. I dropped down, the alarms louder, an automated voice repeating, "Remain in quarters. Protocol Alpha in effect." The research wing was chaos. Researchers and security personnel crowded the observation deck, shouting orders, checking equipment. The object had transformed, its surface cracked with glowing lines, emitting a tone that vibrated the air. Thomas Bell found me, his glasses askew, lab coat misbuttoned. "It's opening," he said, showing me screens with space-time distortions, energy patterns fluctuating wildly. My double, another version, confident and purposeful, moved toward the object, unnoticed by security. I chased him into a maintenance corridor, confronting him in a junction room. "I'm you, James," he said, his voice mine but edged with certainty. He revealed the object as a node created by beings beyond reality, existing across timelines. His timeline collaborated with them, seeking to open the doorway. "It's transformation, not destruction," he claimed, dismissing the cost to our reality. A fight ensued. He overpowered me, slamming me against a pipe. As I blacked out, he vanished, claiming the convergence was unstoppable, his device counting down to a timeline shift. I woke on the maintenance floor, blood sticky on my scalp, the facility trembling. The whispers roared, chanting, "Choose your side." I staggered through corridors, reality fracturing around me. Walls turned transparent, revealing other pools, labs with alien equipment, military quarters, prison cells. A door opened to a weapons factory, a massive object etched with markings. The whispers guided me to the object chamber, where Daniel Cooper and Dr. Kaminsky fought to contain the artifact's energy, amplified by my double sabotage. I shared Ward's journal, proposing a feedback loop to redirect the object's emissions. As reality bled, jungles, underwater facilities, and alien structures appearing, we reconfigured the emitters. The facility crumbling, I volunteered to stay, activating the loop as others evacuated. The object's cracks closed, its light dimming, as breaches sealed. Monitors showed alternate versions of me, fleeing, embracing the object, or standing resolute. The whispers fell silent, replaced by a single voice. "You have chosen." The control room lights flickered, the facility groaning. I had an hour to reach the northern exit, but I lingered, the object's silence deafening. My choice, to close the door, had preserved my timeline, but at what cost? Ward, Keller, Matthews, they'd faced the same choice, their fates unknown. The creators, if my double spoke true, still watched, their experiment eternal. I rose, the radio silent, and walked toward the exit, the pool's halls empty. The ocean waited, vast and indifferent. If I survived, I'd carry the truth, a warning of what lies beneath the waves, whispering across time. If you faced a choice between saving your world and joining a new reality, would you stay or step through the door?